Man, the keyboard releases just keep coming right now. A few of you reached out about this board, so today we've got the GK68XS in-house, which, in addition to being a mouthful to say, also has a 68% layout, hot swap, a really nice aluminum case, support for split spacebar, full RGB backlighting, and it's Bluetooth. It's available on Kickstarter right now with a couple different colorways of really thick PBT XDA profile caps. We're gonna check it out and see how it stacks up. You ready? Let's go! Yo, I'm Brian P. You're watching Bad Seed Tech, and today we're checking out the GK68XS Bluetooth mechanical keyboard from EpoMaker. So the GK68 is available for pre-order in a lot of different configurations, with barebone kits starting as low as $65 all the way up to their flagship XS version, which we have here today, priced at $179 US. It's actually a 65% layout I haven't seen before, with 3 single unit keys between the spacebar and the arrow cluster, but it keeps a full-size backspace key, it retains the 1.75U right shift, and it tucks that far column in between the backspace and the arrows. As we've seen, specialty layouts like this do require a little extra hunting when it comes to finding affordable aftermarket keycaps, so do keep that in mind. We've got compatibility for Windows, Mac, iOS, and Android. The other interesting part about this layout is that the spacebar has a plate that can be swapped out to allow for a completely different split spacebar setup. So you'll have standard single bar, or you can go with 3, which not only gives you additional options for space, but can also double as second and third layer function keys, so you can get really creative and deep with layers and macros. Oddly, they failed to include 2 extra switches in the box to take advantage of the split spacebar, which could be a big inconvenience. Like if you have a big stock of switches on hand, no big deal, but for the end user that's buying this as a complete keyboard, that's gonna be a major oversight. As far as included extras, you get like a felt fold-over soft case with an elastic band, a braided USB-C cable, extra OS keys, and a pretty generic keycap and switch puller. The case itself here is their upgraded full aluminum. It's purple on this one. Both the weight and the finish are really nice here. It weighs in around 1.3 kilos. The coating feels premium, it's smooth, it's absolutely flawless. Really nice lines, no sharp edges. It is USB-C on the left-hand side of the board, and it is recessed just a bit as well. For switches, you can opt for your choice of 4 different cherry or 6 different Gateron flavors. Sadly, no silent versions are offered stock. Keycaps are available in 2 different colorways, the white set like we have here, and also a darker gray set. These are thick PBT with thermal sub-legends. These feel like they would last a lifetime. There are some strange inconsistencies with font weight, size, and positioning with the legends. It does freak me out a little bit if I look at it for too long. They are XDA profile, which may feel a bit off for gaming at first, but it's great for typing. They're basically flat front to back, so the angle comes from the angle of the case. They have a pretty nice sound to them as well. So I do get just a hint of case ping here. There is no kind of internal sound dampening at all inside the case, and the stabilizers feel pretty good. These are lubed from the factory. It's not really a consistent application, but because this board is hot swap, they're also really accessible and would probably benefit from some clipping as well. As far as the hot swap, these are north-facing sockets, they're Gateron, and there is support for 5-pin or PCB mount switches without modding your switches. Depending on your switches, they may be a little looser than you might be used to. In pulling keycaps, I often pulled the entire cap and switch out with the keycap. I tested this board pretty much the entire time in Bluetooth mode between my 2 systems. I only plugged it in one time to charge somewhere like midweek. It is Bluetooth 5.1, and like most Bluetooth boards, it does behave itself like 99% of the time. No issues going into connection mode and holding a connection. Swapping between systems on the fly worked great. The only issue I ran into is that from time to time, a single key press wouldn't register. This was demonstrated both while typing and while in-game as well. Like every so often, I could tell that a directional WASD key press wasn't landing. In all honesty, I was a little concerned about this, this going in with the antenna for the Bluetooth and that case being all aluminum. While it performed better than I expected, it's not to the level of like the HHKB Hybrid, and I would trust it for pretty much every situation out there except competitive gaming. Battery here is a 1900 milliamp hour battery. I don't have any specific figures for you, but battery life wasn't an issue for me during testing, even with the backlight. Because the plate here is white and appears to be fiberglass, the RGB looks really nice and saturated coming off the back of it. The PCB actually supports edge lighting as well, which is not visible inside this case. Most of the lighting modes and function combos are pretty obvious, but they do include a quick guide, which I definitely needed to get started. All your settings will travel with you, as this board does have a 32-bit controller and 8 meg flash memory on board, and it has a separate chip for handling lighting effects. It also has support for 3 different function layers, and they do provide a driver software here to help you make the most out of your lighting effects and complex key reassignments. It's not immediately easy to find, and a lot of it is not in English. I would rate it as pretty powerful, not very user-friendly if English is your primary language. If you're willing to devote some time to it, the additional layers and the split spacebar being able to temporarily toggle between layers opens up a level of functionality generally only reserved for high-end pre-builts and customs. As far as the value prospect, it is kind of tough to nail down because it's available in so many different price points and configurations, but priced as shown at $179, it puts it right up there with the NK65 that we looked at recently, as well as the Drop Alt. I can't tell you what's going to work best for your specific needs. What I can tell you is that the board performs well and has some options you don't generally see on most pre-builds, even though the feature of the split spacebar is available now on some super entry-level like GK61 builds. GK68, GK61, same family. It does a lot of things pretty well, but whether or not it's 100% fit for you depends completely on your needs. I think that's it. Like, the Bluetooth isn't the best. Not like the HHKB Hybrid, but that board comes in a full $100 more expensive, and it has that weird AA battery compartment on the back. The way they handled the battery here is really smooth. It's a great looking case. I probably would have liked it more in the gray with the gray cap set, but still looks nice. No idea which options on Kickstarter are still going to be available by the time you see this. If you're looking for a solid Bluetooth pre-built, still don't want to take the plunge on that full custom, this feels like a good option. I wish you could get this exact case and PCB set up in a bare bones with no switches and no keycaps for like 140 to 150 bucks. I'd feel a lot better about recommending it, as I personally would probably go with a more exotic switch choice, and I definitely change the caps out. Only real limitations for the enthusiast crowd are going to be the plate mount stabs and the north-facing switches. The only drawback for the entry-level crowd outside of price point is that for replacement caps, you're gonna have to start with like a minimum price point of at least like a tie house set to ensure complete compatibility. Something a few of you guys pointed out about the NK65 review, and it's actually a really great point. Running that split spacebar, you'll probably run into some additional challenges, as well as most specialty spacebar add-ons are generally only reserved for more expensive sets. For the most up-to-date info on availability and shipping, just check their Kickstarter page. No affiliate links, no codes, and while they did send this board out for review, I have to stress that this was not a paid or sponsored project in any way. As always, any questions, hit me in the comments or drop by the Discord. And that's it for this time. I'm Brian P. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that like button, hit that sub button, and until next time, stay up.